What's up, Seattle Sports Nation? We have a special edition of the monthly Brew today, NCAA Tournament themed, with special guest for the third time, Joey Calabro. Say hi to the audience, Joey.
Hey, what's up?
So we're going to be talking all things March Madness today, with maybe a little bit of Seattle sports sprinkled in. So first off, who do you guys have in your Final Fours?
Oh, let's not start with Final Fours. All right. We're going from the first matchups on. Let's talk about upsets first.
All right, a couple of first round upsets.
My biggest upset, I'd have to go with. I have Dayton going all the way to the Sweet 16, which is pretty big because I think Ohio State and Aaron Craft are going to be determined to get there with Aaron Craft's last senior year. That was a really tough one for me, and then Dayton would have to get past Syracuse, but Dayton's a pretty good shooting team, so that's why I have them.
See, I don't think they're going to even have to get past Syracuse. I think that Western Michigan, with their sweet shooting backcourt, David Brown, Tucker Heyman, and Tavy, they're going to shoot the lights out against Syracuse's zone, and Syracuse has lost 5 of their last 7 games. They're ice cold right now.
We can just keep on that subject of the South bracket. Joe, you got any upsets in the South bracket?
The sexy pick in this one is FC Austin over VCU. Though I'm not a fan of VCU, I have to say that's overthinking it a bit. Their full court press defense is good against any sort of lower conference team. My biggest upset in that area is Stanford over New Mexico. Stanford's hot.
I got New Mexico.
Stanford's hot. New Mexico is good, but Stanford's hot.
It's pretty unconventional. I've heard a lot of people think that New Mexico could beat Kansas in the round of 32.
I have them in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, of the Elite Eight over Dayton.
I hate trusting New Mexico.
Yeah, because
they always fail you.
Yeah,
last year I had them in the
New
Final
Mexico and
Four.
San Diego State, their conference has proven that they've not been very successful in the NCAA tournament. So there's a lot of risk there. But
coming out of that bracket, I have Florida. I think they have too much depth.
I have Florida as well. Good. The seniors are Kansas is definitely potential to make it out, but I think the 4 seniors of Florida will lead them.
I've got Kansas.
You think Embiid's going to be back?
Embiid will be back. I think
he?
He's just too much of a force.
He's a team doctor.
Yeah, I think Patrick Young's going to be able to hopefully body him out and get Florida to advance to the Final Four.
Chris Walker's about to make a huge
impact.
You
love Chris Walker. He's no good. No good.
All right,
East region. First round upsets. Who you guys got?
Let's see. I have Harvard over Cincinnati.
As do I.
And yeah, that's my only first round upset.
Yeah, in the South in the East region.
I don't have many upsets in the East and South.
I think George Washington is sneaky. Memphis has good guard play, but
Memphis has a player on their team who played for George Washington last year. Who can talk about their schemes and everything.
Similarly to the Dayton-Ohio State matchup, Dayton has a former Ohio State player. And that's sort of an interesting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Ohio State has intentionally not scheduled Dayton on their conference because they didn't want to play them. So Dayton's got some fire. Back to the East, I agree. Harvard is my only first round upset. Joey, is that same for you?
That's a popular pick, but
you have no upsets.
Cincinnati,
in the East.
I have no upsets in the East. I just don't
you really think that's going to happen?
I do. If the upset were to happen, it would be Harvard over Cincinnati, but
I could see Providence
over
UNC
has been a pretty common one.
And St. Joe's over UConn.
Marshall's big on the UConn bandwagon.
UConn's good.
Yeah,
I don't see that happening.
I have UConn coming out of the East for the Final Four. That's my bold
I'm a big
prediction.
UConn fan. I got them going to the Sweet 16, maybe the Elite 8. I haven't officially decided that yet. But I think Virginia's coming out of that region for me. I think they're just too much talent.
I could see Virginia.
Good coaching.
Virginia's pretty
good. They're deep. They have multiple scorers. And they're just all around good at every position.
Good coaching and everything.
Yeah, but Villanova is a team that I'm not sure why. I'm not really confident in them.
It's probably because we haven't watched.
Yeah, they only have 4 losses, and 2 of them were to Creighton. I mean, if they don't play Creighton,
Creighton has a big guy who can. I don't know. I think UConn can beat him with the 2 guards in Boatwright and Shabazz.
Iowa State is a sneaky team that could come out of that region, though. They're pretty good offensively.
DeAndre they don't have a true big guy, which is where
Niang isn't a true big guy, but
he's 6'8".
He's got enough size to bang in there. No one in that region though has a monster on the inside except for Michigan State.
Yeah, with Payne and Cincinnati with Justin Jackson.
I guess Toby on Virginia, but he's not a dominant player.
Toby's a good offensive force, though.
Yeah, he's good on the glass.
He's got good touch.
Yeah, he does have good touch.
So both of you have Virginia out of the East. Mm-hmm. I got UConn. All right, now moving on to the West. Let's see, upsets I got in the first round. North Dakota State over Oklahoma. If you want to call it upset, Oklahoma State over Gonzaga.
Yeah, the 8-9s are tough to really count.
Jeez, now I'm realizing I picked no first round upsets. I wanted to pick Nebraska
over Baylor has been a pretty common one, but the way Baylor sort of turned it around at the end of the season, they played well in the Big 12 tournament, and I think that they have enough with Brady Heslip and Isaiah Austin and those guys. I think they have enough to move past Nebraska.
You guys both have Oklahoma State over Arizona, right?
Yeah. I think. I'm just not a believer in Arizona. Nick Johnson is just a monster on both ends of the floor. But I think Marcus Smart is bigger and more physical and can sort of potentially swallow him up on defense. And losing Brandon Ashley was a big loss for Arizona midseason. And although Oklahoma State doesn't really have a true big guy after they lost Michael Cobbins early in the year, I just think that their guard play with Marcus Smart, Markel Brown, and then LeBron Nash as well is just going to be too much for Arizona.
My biggest concern about Oklahoma State, though, is their offensive sets. They don't really have an offense. They're just a collection of these athletic freaks, if you will.
Yeah.
Not the greatest coaching over there. Kind of like an AAU squad. Just a collection of great talents.
That's a good analogy. Because basically, all they ever do is just throw it in the post to Markel Brown or LeBron Nash, or just have Marcus Smart try to create. They don't have much flow to their offense.
Yeah, with that kind of team, you could see them in the Elite Eight, or you could see them losing to Gonzaga. Either way.
We've compared them to Connecticut in the past. It seems that could make it to the Final Four, potentially with that much talent, or to lose in the first round. Oklahoma State has potentially 3 or 4 seed talent, which is why they're significantly underseeded.
Yeah.
But
I got, out of that region, I have Creighton, Doug McDermott. I'm riding Doug McDermott to the Final Four. That's my least confident Final Four pick.
I have Wisconsin coming out of that region, but I think Oregon's going to beat BYU, and they have enough offensive firepower to potentially match Wisconsin.
No one can guard Kaminsky on that.
No one can guard Kaminsky. Agreed. But I think Oregon can score from all 5 positions, and while I don't think they're going to beat Wisconsin, I have Wisconsin going to the Final Four. I think Oregon could potentially give Wisconsin a scare.
And then I think...
But the Creighton-Wisconsin...
The only thing about why I'm not confident about Creighton is because Arizona can D him up so well with Gordon and Hollis Jefferson on McDermott, and then Johnson on Gibbs, and I don't know who would guard. I guess Tarczewski.
The Kaminsky...
Tarczewski.
McDermott.
Oh, yeah.
Which is going to be a fun one. Because Wisconsin is not the classic Wisconsin team.
I don't think that McDermott would guard him. I think they have another big man, Ethan. No, they have a 6'10", 6'11" kid who would probably guard Kaminsky.
But I think that the Wisconsin-Creighton matchup is going to be a really fun one because Wisconsin is actually not their classic defensive powerhouse. They're one of the top offensive teams in the nation, and so them matching up against the best offensive team statistically in Creighton is going to be a really fun matchup to watch.
Yeah. So now to move on to the last part, the Midwest.
The toughest region, I think, by far. They have 3 of last year's Final Four teams. They have undefeated Wichita State, Michigan,
Joey,
the 2 seed,
no upsets
Duke,
in this bracket.
and Louisville. Joey doesn't have many upsets. He doesn't seem to grasp the concept of March Madness.
Upsets are gonna happen.
I have revised my bracket since we're taking a look at this one. If Tennessee wins, I got them over UMass. However, I'm not a believer in Iowa.
Yeah, no, they've been cold. I think we're all in agreement that NC State's going to beat St. Louis. St. Louis is about as cold as it gets right now. And
Kentucky over Wichita State, maybe?
I
put Wichita State.
It's been a popular one, but I just don't get it. So what if Kentucky's playing their best basketball this season? Wichita State is just better. They're a much better team right now. They're better at... There's not a single position, really, where Kentucky is better. Julius Randle has an advantage on Cleanthony Early, obviously.
One I do have is Tennessee over Duke. Getting Tennessee to the Sweet 16.
If Tennessee beats Iowa tonight, I think they could definitely... They're definitely going to beat UMass, and I think they could give Duke a run for their money, that's for sure. Jabari Parker, I just don't know.
Honestly, some of these upsets could, So, UMass winning could be an upset, even though it isn't by the seeding. Tennessee's or Iowa would be favored over UMass.
Chaz Williams.
NC State, if St. Louis beat NC State, that would be an upset. I mean, these are crazy.
Yeah, the Arizona State-Texas game is about as a coin flip as it gets for me. I don't know.
I picked Arizona State.
I picked Arizona State as well, but I think it could really go either way. Nate Silver on 538.com is actually calling it a 50-50 chance for either team to win.
Yeah, Texas has the big guys, but Arizona State has Baczynski and Jahi Carson, future NBA
player. Coming into the round of 32, the only real question we have is the Duke, Tennessee, and Kentucky Wichita State, but I think it's going to be pretty chalk. I think it's probably going to end up being Wichita State versus Louisville and Duke versus Michigan in the Sweet 16. And who do you guys have winning those games and moving on to the Elite Eight in the Midwest?
In the Elite Eight, I have Michigan and Louisville. I think, like I said, Tennessee's going to knock off Duke, so Michigan will get through to the Elite Eight, but Louisville's going to be hard to beat, and so I have Louisville in the Final Four.
I've got Louisville and Duke in the Elite Eight. Jabari Parker, talent to take over a game. Krzyzewski as the coach, you just can't bet against him. I got Duke in the Final Four.
Yeah, Duke, if they keep shooting threes well, they're gonna be tough to beat. But Michigan shoots a three just as well as anybody as well. So if both teams get hot in that game along with the Creighton Wisconsin game will be a couple really fun, really high scoring Sweet 16 matchups to watch. But I have Michigan advancing. I think Nick Stauskas is one of the best players in the country. And I think he has a chance to take over a game just as much as Jabari Parker does.
I want to pick because I have every 1, 2, and 3 seed winning. I want to pick a 3 or a 2 seed to lose.
Yeah.
Because that always seems to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen somewhere.
3 seed.
Just not really sure where. I think the New Mexico over Kansas is one that's been relatively common. I have, obviously, Villanova losing to Connecticut.
3 seed, Iowa State is not going to lose.
Are you talking about in the first round?
Duke might, yeah.
In the first round, I have Syracuse going down.
I could see Syracuse losing that
I could see UCLA losing. You
know what? I'm going to pick Western Michigan. That's the one change
get on the bandwagon.
That's going to be my one change to my bracket is Western Michigan beating Syracuse.
But in terms of this Wichita State-Louisville matchup, Louisville has been the trendiest pick to win the national championship by pretty much all statistical measures.
Yeah.
And I think that they're probably going to beat Wichita State, but Wichita State has seniors. They have a lot of talent. I think they could beat Louisville, but I do have Louisville advancing to the Elite Eight, and I have Louisville beating Michigan and advancing to the Final Four from that region.
All right, so now for the Final Four, who do you think gets to the championship game?
I have Virginia against Florida, and then Louisville against Wisconsin. My final game is Virginia against Louisville with Virginia Cavaliers taking it all. Man. Joe Harris, Chelan Washington.
Winning the national championship in basketball. Honestly.
Yeah,
I guess they have potential to, but
on PCI they were debating which would be the more surprising national champion, Virginia or Wichita State. And I think the fact that that's
definitely be Virginia because Wichita State's undefeated, and I guess it wouldn't be like a total surprise, but like Virginia,
they're the ACC champs, regular season and tournament. Those kind of teams win national championships.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I got for my Final Four, you have obviously UConn, Creighton, Michigan, Louisville and Florida. I have Florida beating UConn. And then Creighton losing to Louisville and Florida beating Louisville in the final. That's gonna be a good game.
I think Scotty Wilbekin could D up Russ Smith.
Yeah, Florida's honestly just so deep. Man. Joey, what do you got?
I got Kansas facing off against Virginia, and then on the other side, Wisconsin against Duke. I think Virginia takes it all against Wisconsin in the national championship.
Jeez,
Virginia just with the best all-around team, defensively, offensively.
Wisconsin basketball in the final.
They're good. They're good. Bo Ryan's a good coach.
But it's just so hard to see.
It's impossible to predict.
We'll see. So, just to kind of wrap it up here, make sure to join our bracket group called Seattle Sports Soup.
Winner gets a signed
pack of Skittles by the one and only Marshawn Lynch. So be sure to get in there today. When do the brackets lock? Like
the brackets
lock or tomorrow morning.
They lock tomorrow.
All right, well, make sure to get in there. Thanks for listening, and go check out our website, SeattleSportsSoup.com.
Dancing around the lies we tell. Dancing can tell. We live in cities you'll never see on screen. Our